At 43, I stand at the edge, too wise for recklessness, yet yearning for a depth that stability can't satisfy. I'm in my second marriage with a man who seems kind to everyone. My husband, a dedicated civil engineer, embodies quiet strength, hardworking, scandal-free, and devoid of drama. Perhaps that's precisely the reason. He's mastered the art of absence, missing from dinner, silent in our talks, and gone on those nights when I reach out for warmth, only to grasp a cold pillow instead. He disappears for weeks, lost in the depths of his long-term projects. I've grown accustomed to the solitude that fills this vast two-story house. I spend my days at a small library, lost in the world of books. Evenings find me alone at the table, the silence heavy around me. Weekends bring grocery runs and heartfelt calls to my mother. All is in order, yet hollow. Damian Wolf, my husband's son from another life, is 24 now. He came back from San Diego weeks ago, ready to embrace summer before diving into a new job. He dwells below, seldom ascends, silent yet courteous. He never calls me mom, and I never thought he would. It's hard to pinpoint when he first caught my attention, not like a guardian, but something deeper. His presence lingered, subtle yet undeniable, filling the emptiness of the house and making me feel less alone. We've maintained our distance, exchanging fleeting greetings and the rare, "Have you eaten yet?" He lifted the planter to the balcony, easing my pain, a simple act that meant everything. Fitting and precise, yet beneath the surface, a faint tension brewed, like a seed awakening from slumber. After days of unsettling silence, the rain began to fall just after 10, breaking the stillness with its urgent rhythm. Summer rain in Seattle bursts forth, fierce and sudden, then vanishes just as quickly, leaving behind streaks of water cascading down the kitchen window. Sleep eluded me. A sharp pain throbbed in my left shoulder. Since the afternoon, a familiar ache emerges for women over 40, as the body starts to voice its truths, bit by bit. I descended the stairs, searching for painkillers and a comforting glass of warm water. The main light stayed off, leaving only the soft yellow glow of the range hood, casting my faint shadow across the tiled floor. Reaching for a glass, I froze at the echo of footsteps creeping closer. "I didn't mean to frighten you." It was Damian Wolf. Everything changed in that moment. He stood there in a t-shirt and sweatpants, a book clutched in one hand, hair still glistening from the shower. "It's okay." I needed relief from the relentless shoulder pain. "Shall I brew you some ginger tea? Can warm tea truly lull you into a deeper sleep?" He acted before I could refuse. He rushed to fill the kettle, pouring steaming water into the cup, then adding a delicate slice of lemon and a few fresh ginger pieces. I pressed against the counter, captivated by the silent intensity of his actions. This young man, once a fleeting presence, now brews tea, creating a bond that feels timeless. "Is your shoulder in excruciating pain?" I nodded subtly, then retreated toward the stairs. "I'll head up first. Bring the tea when it's ready." I paused, then nodded once more, uncertain if it stemmed from trust, courtesy, or an unnamed feeling lurking beneath the surface. I perched on the bed's edge, fingers kneading my aching shoulder. The door creaked open, just a crack. The rain drummed relentlessly on the glass, a haunting melody of memories. He knocked gently, stepping in with the steaming cup of tea. "Take this." I grasped the cup, whispering, "Thank you." Silence hung heavy between us. Damian Wolf approached and sank into the tiny chair by the window. We lingered in that moment, one on the bed, the other just steps away, wrapped in a silence so fragile that even the faintest sound could break it. I gazed through the window. The golden streetlights outside faded into a haze, swallowed by the relentless rain. In a heartbeat, my words escaped, my gaze elsewhere. "Do you ever wonder if adults crave someone to check in on them, too?" Damian Wolf paused, silence thick in the air, then spoke, each word deliberate. "Absolutely, I believe so. Everyone craves that. Few possess the patience to inquire and the tenderness to truly hear." I glanced at him, caught in the intensity of his gaze. It was a gaze heavy with unspoken emotions, far from mere politeness. It was a gaze that pierced through, revealing my very soul. In that gaze, I felt the weight of years slip away, revealing the longing to be seen beyond the roles I had worn, beyond wife, homemaker, the keeper of order. Yet, as a woman, I clutched the cup of tea, its gentle warmth enveloping my fingers. Damien Wolf sat in the chair by the window, hands loosely clasped in his lap, eyes locked on the wooden floor, lost in uncertainty. The rain sound grew nearer, more piercing, tapping out a rhythm on the unspoken words buried deep within me. I never imagined I could adapt to this sensation, I whispered. Everything seemed in place, yet an emptiness lingered. He glanced upward. His gaze locked onto mine, steady yet piercing, I believe. Sometimes, it's the little things we crave, he whispered. Someone who lets us breathe, who makes being okay feel effortless. I gripped the ceramic cup, my fingers trembling with intensity. A soft flutter ignited in my chest, uncertain if it was his words or the intensity of his gaze that sparked it. Do you sense it too? Frequently, I inquired. Damien Wolf nodded slightly. In San Diego, solitude enveloped me for a time. I had friends, yet few truly heard me when I spoke. A soft laugh escaped me. I understand. It's been ages since someone cared to ask about my meals, my sleep, or simply. Today, sadness wrapped the room in silence once more. This time, the quiet enveloped me, urging me to pause, inhale deeply, and confront my truths. I placed the cup of tea aside and faced him. Damien Wolf, what's it like living in this house? He stared at me, the silence stretching, then finally whispered, it's quiet but warm, and sometimes. Loneliness lingers, yet it sharpens my gratitude for moments like this. Words weren't needed, the weight of understanding hung between us. The bedside lamp's soft glow illuminated just enough, keeping hidden what we weren't ready to face, yet revealing the raw emotion in our eyes. I glanced back at the window, a sudden lightness enveloping me, though I couldn't pinpoint the reason, only that change was in the air, subtle yet powerful, it wraps around me, easing the weight of solitude. I settled next to Damien Wolf, just within reach of his calm breath, close enough to catch the slight shift of his jaw as he swallowed. The rain drummed relentlessly on the window, matching the frantic pulse of my heart. His eyes were fixed on me, steady and intense, as if he were holding his breath while everything around us slowly fell apart. Sleep eludes me tonight, he asked, his voice barely a whisper against the relentless rain. I shook my head, a quiet storm brewing within. Not quite, it's simply that. At times, what you believed was buried deep in slumber jolts back to life when you least expect it. Silence hung heavy in the air. He reached out, touching the back of my hand, quiet, unhurried, a profound moment of connection. I stayed close. I believed in your strength. His voice sank, heavy with truth. No one deserves such solitude. I faced him, locking my gaze with his. You think you know me, Damien Wolf, but you don't. You don't need to share it all, he said, his eyes locked on hers. You deserve to be seen, to be heard, not merely as a stepmother or a wife, but as a woman in your own right. In that instant, the rain faded into silence. Only my heartbeat echoed in the silence, a fragile moment balanced on the brink, where one breath could shatter everything. I leaned in, just shy of contact, yet the heat between us was undeniable. Damien Wolf. I called his name once more that night, this time with raw honesty. His fingers brushed my cheek, a soft spark igniting between us. His hand was warm and steady, yet a subtle tremble betrayed his surprise at his own tenderness. I let him go. I allowed his fingers to graze my cheek, surrendering to the surge of feeling that overwhelmed me. I shut my eyes, not from tiredness, but to embrace the rawness of emotion, longing to connect with my heart instead of my mind. We didn't kiss, yet the intensity of that moment surpassed any embrace. She felt the weight of years spent in shadows lift as someone finally saw her, not just with their eyes, but with their heart. I stirred in my bed, the blanket askew, the window whispering secrets from the night before. Soft morning light spilled across the empty pillow, a lingering warmth whispering of what once was, emotion still clinging to the air. No boundaries had been breached, yet, I was aware. A line, unseen yet profound, had been crossed in silence. I emerged from the room, catching sight of him below, brewing coffee, clad in a gray t-shirt, hair still glistening with moisture. When he gazed at me, his eyes softened, not with shame, not with desire, but with a profound understanding, quiet and deep. Did you rest peacefully? He spoke, his voice steady, yet his gaze pierced through me, unyielding. I nodded, a soft smile breaking through. Thanks for being there with me last night. We faced each other at the kitchen table, a modest breakfast of toasted bread and hot coffee between us. Silence hung heavy between us. It was unnecessary. All that mattered had been uttered in the dark of last night. He stopped at the door, glancing back at me one final time before stepping into his routine. I only succeeded in leaving you bewildered. No regrets, only resolve. I chose silence, knowing you deserve clarity. I smiled, a serene, profound smile that spoke volumes beyond words. Silence fell as the door shut. In that moment, I realized that even if the world outside stood still, I was irrevocably transformed within. This story isn't one of pride or justification, it's a confession of a moment that strayed beyond the confines of marriage. It was genuine, profound in its silence, as two souls sat together, words unnecessary. And genuine in the sensation of being stirred in a place I believed had faded into silence. I once thought connection belonged only to the confines of what was deemed acceptable and proper. Now, it all makes sense. Emotions take shape in unexpected ways. They select their moment in the silence, where whispers can be felt. I have been a wife, a stepmother, a woman striving for what is right. Yet, true maturity can mean letting go of control. It's about summoning the courage to confront what lies within, even if it flickers for just an instant. Uncertainty looms between us, a silence that could mean everything or nothing. But I know this, I am no longer the woman who silently accepted her fate. One truth I hope every woman holds close is this: your feelings matter. You deserve to be noticed. You deserve a genuine bond, no matter where it springs from. Have you ever experienced a moment that changed your perception of yourself? Share it below. If this story moved you, show your support by liking the video. Subscribe to catch more raw stories, revealing truths we've often left unspoken. Send this to someone who deserves to be truly seen.